And we're back, Stripe Show podcasts on a Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Weekend full of golf up there at the BMW Championship just outside of Chicago. Victor Hovland gets to the winner's circle for us. If you watched the show on Tuesday, you know that Keith Stewart and I were all over Vic. Our card started with Patrick Cantlay and Victor Hovland and, 61 on Sunday at Olympia Fields. That's probably the best ball striking performance that I've seen. That's like Tiger-esque. Like that'd be, probably since Tiger. And Scotty Scheffler, of course, has been right there with it. But my goodness, that was indeed, or dare I say, a Stripe show. We're going to stay up there in the Chicago area. Guy joining me today. Cool story today. Today's podcast brought to you about golf simulators. And today we're going to talk about really the growth of indoor golf and using an About Golf simulator to play indoor golf, and then how that transfers out to playing outdoor golf. Because today's guest, no one probably plays more indoor golf on an About Golf simulator than this guy. He joins me from Oswego, Illinois, Ralph Spevere. Close.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Well, first off, congratulations on qualifying for the 2023 U.S. Senior Am. That's right, folks. You're looking at a contestant this weekend. It's going to be at Marquise Camp Club, which is right outside of Lake Tahoe. And you qualified, age of 55. Congratulations on doing that.
Yeah, 56 now, but yeah.
56.
Yeah, for sure. I attempted to qualify last year, just missed it. But this year, came through, and I'm super excited about it.
So last year, you tried to qualify at age 55, and because I remember this story. Okay, so you were 55 last year, tried to qualify, and you were right there coming down the stretch to get in, and then golf happened, right?
Then golf happened, and I made it the awful, don't want to say the word, but double bogey on 17. I tied for the third qualifying spot, went into a playoff, and ultimately lost the playoff. I was runner up in that, so I ended up with first alternate. I was hoping to get the alternate call, but it never happened. So unfortunately, I had to try it again this year. You only get one chance a year to do these things. So.
Yeah. So fast forward, now you're 56, and you qualify. So you're going over to your first U.S. Senior Am. This weekend, August 26, 27, 156 players. And after Saturday, Sunday, it cuts down to 64. And then you go match play from the 28th through the 31st, which concludes with the 36-hole match. So let's get into your craft, because you have a full-time job, right? And you have a family, as most all of these amateurs do. So tell us about that. And then I want to get into your journey here, because this is fascinating, folks, today, about how much Ralph works indoors on his game around his busy schedule, and then has really propelled his skills to get to where he is right now, which is competing in the U.S. Senior Am. So tell us about where you're sitting, what you do right now.
So I'm an IT guy by trade. Lucky enough to have an About Golf simulator here at work, primarily used for the sales group, but I kind of call it my last name's Spevere, so I call it the Spevere retention tool. So if they like me here, I get to keep playing golf, right? That's the way to keep me here. But like pretty much every day, I'm a family guy, like most of, like you said, and I try to detract as little time away from the family as possible. So at lunchtime, I may eat in about 3 minutes, and then I start playing 18 holes or more on sim. It takes about 25 minutes to play 18 holes for me.
Wow.
And we'll play, if we're playing twos, we'll almost take the full hour to play. But in about 25 minutes, I can play 18 holes. And usually it starts out with just like you do in real life. I start out with a range session. I'm the old school guy. I start out with, sand wedge and 80-yard shots, and I build up, and hit about 5-10 drivers at the end, and then we play. So if I can squeak in a few extra minutes before we start, I always try to warm up and get prepared to play, because I take it seriously. I try to do
Yep.
my best, and whether it's simulator golf, which I call it's near real golf, and I try to do the same when I go outdoors as well, which is pretty rare.
So what is the percentage for you, would you say, playing indoor golf, whether it's a round of golf or you're just having a range session or you're playing with one of the games and the features that About Golf have, which I want to get into and which really helped your game more specifically. But what is the percentage indoor, would you say, actually hitting balls versus you playing outdoors?
Wow. So indoor, I'm playing every day.
Okay.
On a weekly basis, I play in a 9-hole golf league. So that's it. I go and hit balls 20 minutes before I play and putt a little bit, and then I play my 9 holes. That's a typical week that I have. I don't play weekend golf, although I'd love to. Other things, just kind of in the way. So I really, really try to, when I do practice, as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit smarter on how to practice, how to put in the right amount of effort, as opposed to, I used to be a range rat, and I would go to the course at 5:30 in the morning and hit balls for an hour and a half and go to work. And now I don't do that anymore. I haven't done that in 2 years now. I haven't gone hit morning golf balls on the way to work. If I want to, I can come in and hit for 20 minutes as opposed to an hour and a half. So working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, right. I think that's it, right? Working smarter, maybe more efficient with the time, because everybody listening right now, time's an issue, especially when you have kids and you have family and you want to play golf. I played golf on Saturday, 4-hour round, probably close to 4.5 hours, maybe 5, at times. And you just said you played by yourself in 26 minutes and 18 holes. And so this indoor golf growth that we've seen across the country. You're in Illinois, you get winter. Of course, people in the off season up there are going to really gravitate to that. I was up in Minneapolis where I met you for the finals of the About Golf Ryder Cup series that they did, where people were qualifying from all over the place. They flew them in, they competed for the grand prize, which is a trip for 2 over to the Ryder Cup in September. Marco Simone is a golf course. I'm actually downloading it right now. I get to play it. This is Hazeltine. They set you up a really cool par 3 challenge of the best par 3s in the Ryder Cup over the years. So it's really cool what they can do with this simulator. And of course, simulating these golf courses, these situations, and it becomes so real. It's amazing when you're standing there and okay, I hit my wedge this far or my 7-iron this far, and you're kind of calculating that on the range, and yeah, okay, that's how far it went. And then you get on the golf course and here's the numbers, here's the wind. And yes, you're not standing outside. It's not an uneven lie. There's not wind hitting you in the face, but outside of that, it's dead on, isn't it? Right. As far as
100%.
how far that ball carries and how much that wind is going to affect it.
100%. I mean, I before looking at the About Golf simulators, right? I actually went and trialed a few different ones, and I went in and hit, and I know how my ball flies, right? I mean, I play enough golf. I played high school golf. I played college golf. I'm older in life, but I know exactly how my golf ball flies, right? You just do.
Yeah.
And when I got into the About Golf simulator, it was exactly the same. So I got into other ones. They were close, right? I'm not going to say they're not good, but they weren't perfect. And when I say perfect, I mean these things measure the spin. They don't like guesstimate the spin. So when I see my ball fly in the simulator, and I go outside and that ball flies exactly the same way, the same distance, the same reaction with the spin, etc. I'm like, there's no comparison. So if you get into a simulator that's even close, it might be 5 or 10% off of what real life is.
Yeah,
it's a big difference. So being able to practice under conditions that are nearly identical to real life, I mean, it's been just amazing for the game.
So let's talk about that, because clearly this has played a huge role in your development in your preparation than to be able to go out with the busy schedule that you have, as someone in the IT department there, someone with a family. Like you said, you don't play much golf on the weekend, but yet you love the game, you want to play it, and you want to get out and compete in something like the US Senior Am.
Right.
And so you got to try to keep your craft as clean as possible, right? As sharp as possible. And so I was looking at some numbers here, and you were talking before we went on. You played 400 plus rounds on the About Golf Simulator in the last 6 months. When you play golf, because I want to get into now just where has it helped you the most, right? In getting to where you are to go or be a real competitor, right, for the US Senior Am. When you play golf, what are the things that you have found that have translated from your experience playing the golf courses in the simulator to when you go out and compete on a golf course?
Yeah, good question. So I will say, growing up playing golf, even until my experience with the simulator, maybe now 3.5, 4 years, I didn't know exactly how far the ball flew.
Mm.
I didn't use a rangefinder. I was a field player. I grew up playing golf in the 70s, right? Since I've been 6 years old, I've been playing golf. And I've been, I always called it a field golfer. I could tell you standing in the fairway how far I am away from the flag. I just know that inherently. But knowing exactly how far you are away and knowing exactly how far you hit the ball has made all the difference for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, on the green, 20 feet, or knowing that you can hit this club full and you're going to be a much closer, diameter, which means more putts made, better results in the overall game, and just a better experience. When you come off a course and you hit it close and you made putts and the things kind of gel together, you're like, wow, So I think early on with no technology there, it was a little bit of a guessing game. But now it's a lot less of a guess and a lot more of just execute the shot. And that's what you got to do is figure out how to translate executing the shot in the simulator and translate it out to the course. And I pretty much found out how to do that. I just picture myself hitting in the simulator to the target,
Mm.
right? That bullseye that you have on the range, right? I do that, and then I do all the little drills in the simulator, like target greens, because I want to see how it looks and how it reacts, and my consistency. I'm looking at my trajectories. I'm looking at the spins. I get on the app afterwards and I look through and I go, yeah, my sand wedge, my 56-degree sand wedge carries, what is it, like, I don't know, like 83 miles an hour
Right.
is my average. I know
Yeah.
it. I know how hard to hit it for the ball to go a certain distance.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's interesting, like dialing in the distances, but then you said something about imagining that you're in the sim, right?
Yeah.
And it's just you, it's a golf ball, and it's a golf shot, and executing that shot, right? And this is where when you listen to tour players talk, the best players, it gets into kind of the same thing where I'm just trying to focus on that shot at hand. Victor Hovland just said it. I listened to his press conference afterwards. He shot 28 on the back nine. And of course he knew he had to keep climbing. He was chasing, but he was like, look, this is one shot. Here's the distance. Here's my club, and just make another good swing and just see where it ends up. Right. And that's kind of what it is. And then yet it's easy to get external things interrupting that, right? And your own internal thoughts can interrupt that. But where I find in the sim, it's like, okay, yeah, there's no one around me on the golf course and the distractions and the wind and this and that, but it's a golf shot, right? Like you have to get in there, run your routine, and hit the shot that I know how to hit, right? And then there it goes on my distance, on my line. Yep, that was right. And I get feedback and then do it again and then do it again. So I really do think you can really come into peace with who you are as a player in the routine and focusing in on executing a golf shot. And as you said, just really dialing in those distances and the trajectories, because you see them on the simulator. You can play with the wind and it can affect it. How much is it affecting it? Crosswind, downwind, into the wind, all those things it's science. It's very accurate. And so there's a lot there, right? That you can really build confidence with in who you are as a player. Now, when you use the sim, do you work like technique wise? Are you working on your swing? Are you working on shots, like maybe short game shots and putting? And I'll finish with this real quick, and then I'll give you the floor in this. The most impressive thing I think about Golf Simulator, and there's a lot of things, but the putting, there's no one better, right? And when you get the closer you get to the hole, these indoor sims, they have a hard time seeing the ball. Some of them do, not this one. The putting is very good. And when you sit there that distance from the screen, about 15 feet, and you have a 15-foot putt, well, just roll it to the end of the screen. It's a 15-footer, and it's spot on. And so, like, you kind of, for me, even, like, I've never been this way about putting and pacing it off. And so I've kind of got to where even now, like, I know the framework of my stroke roughly more dialed in on a 15-footer on in, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but it is the truth. Like, all these little things build up in the memory bank, and the putting on this is exceptional. So do you work on technique, like putting technique, short game shots, full swing stuff, hitting shots in the sim as well, to develop your game?
Absolutely. So first off, the putting. So the first time I'll play with somebody here on the simulator, they'll be like, "How do I putt?" And I'm like, "Well, if it's a 4-foot putt, you just putt it 4 feet." And they're like, "What?"
Yep.
Like they can't believe it. It's hard for them to process because the cameras of the simulator and the tracking, it knows that it's going 2 miles an hour or 3 miles an hour, and it knows what that does based on the grain of the green and everything. And it has been unbelievable. I'll say for putting, dialing in your distances, like you said, is good. It's great, right? So, you can change the stimp meter on these things to match what your course is and get even better, right? You can tweak them. But I do putt on it. I think for putting, it helps because all those little twitchy muscles, right, that you have in putting strokes that make you, miss right or left, I think they help just build some stability in all those little twitchy muscles and kind of drive that out. I don't even think about it on the simulator putting anymore. I just know a 20-foot putt is this far, and when I go on a real course, like you said, pacing it out, I can kind of go, oh, I'm 6 paces or I'm 5 paces, and the memory banks are there for it. When you're talking about regular shots, I practice a lot of. I'm a fairly straight ball hitter nowadays.
Okay.
I've changed my swing slightly. I used to draw the ball. It was, what did you call it? Like a little, like a push draw
Yeah,
or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And that was my technique. I've never had any formal lessons, but being on the simulator, in the past, they identified it as a push draw, and it was like a little baby draw, 5 yards. I found that as I've gotten older, I want to take left out of play. I want to concentrate and get smarter about the game. So in order to take left out of play, I started playing more of a straight ball. I'll rarely go left anymore. I rarely draw the ball unless I intend to. And what the simulators help me do is identify exactly what I need to do with my feet, with my swing path, etc., to, hit that 7-iron dead straight, throw it out to the right with a little draw, or throw it to the left. There's very little variables. A lot of people think you need to change a crazy amount of things. You're a teacher, I teach myself. I put a camera behind the thing, and I go through slow motion. I go, okay, I talk into the camera and I say, this is what I'm trying to do on these next 10 shots. And then I look at my results, and then I figure out, okay, my swing path is a little bit here or there, or my feet are, this way or this way a little bit. And it's just minor tweaks, but you can turn a straight ball into a fade, into a baby draw, very easily. So I'm using that information that I'm getting instant feedback.
Yeah.
If I did it right or if I did it wrong, I know in 2 seconds that I did it. Then I can self-correct and then try to build in that repeatability.
Yeah, I think self-discovery, given some context, oftentimes really is high indoors. I find, and I've taught golf for 22 years, and when I made the jump to go indoors and partner up with About Golf, that was a big jump for me because I was outside. That's where I always taught. And this conversation is not about taking people away from playing golf outside. This is about playing more golf and the benefit of playing indoor golf. and what that can offer you in the way of your busy schedule and still be able to enjoy the game, still being able to work on your craft, still being able to compete. Because I want to talk to you about some of the features in About Golf that they have. Is one of my favorite games is the driving game, the Conquer game, where the fairway just keeps getting tighter and tighter. And so it's another way, right, of consuming the game. And I can tell you, it is growing significantly. And I know you sense that up in Illinois.
100%.
I could sense it more in Minneapolis when I was there. I was like, I couldn't believe how many simulators were downtown. And now I live in Florida. And, down here you play golf year round, right? In the winter, it's nice and this and that. But golf is very busy. And tee times are tough right now. And so I have seen in the last year and a half since I've built my studio, just people coming in here and asking questions about all of this. And then they come in here and they do it and they consume it. And they're like, wow, this is great. I can't believe how accurate it is. I can't believe that I just did all that in an hour or 2 hours. Right. And so it can really, it can fulfill you and your itch for golf in so many ways. And what I've noticed is the impact that it has on junior golf. Can't tell you how great it's been for our after school program. I mean, these kids love this thing, this big video game. They come in, they learn technique. We're using the games. We're moving them around to the putting green. And I mean, they just absolutely love it. Women are starting out, I think, to come in here. They don't feel as intimidated, especially getting into the game, as they would maybe on the golf course and hitting balls on the range, taking lessons. And then just, as far as men, like, of course, the men's league. We just started the men's league here. Tonight is week 2. They come in, they compete. They're playing this course here today. I'm going to try to get them on the Marco Simone. I'm downloading it right now. So I'm hoping to have that up and running for week 2. They get to play the Ryder Cup course, where they're playing the Ryder Cup in September. I mean, how cool is that? So it's just, there's so many cool features and they loved it. The men's league, there's no indoor men's league in Florida around my area, 0. And so like, this was a new concept, and they're like, wait, okay, yeah, I get it. And they just had a blast, 2 hours playing 9 holes. So there's just so many features and things that are happening in the way of indoor golf. And then Tiger and Rory going to be starting their simulating company or their simulation on Mondays, where they'll be competing indoors and this and that. Well, I don't think we really know what that's going to look and feel like, but that's where this is all going. I mean, these guys are investing in indoor golf. And so it's just awesome to see the growth of the game, not only outdoors, and it's awesome and how busy it is out there, but also indoors and how that can fulfill you with golf, whether it's taking lessons, getting fitted, just working on your game and going and finding and playing golf like you do in your craft to the point that it makes you a better player when you go out and compete and qualify for the U.S. Senior Am. But this is where the game is going. And it's, I can tell you, because I've been out with it for the last year and a half, and it works and it's fun, and people of all takes like it, men, women, juniors, seniors, new golfers, youngsters, you name it. They're coming through here and they're enjoying the experience. Do you sense that in the Midwest as well? I mean, the growth of it?
Yeah, I mean, the guys in the golf league that I play in, and I've never played in a golf league before, right? I played on a couple teams, but golf league never did it until last year. Guys talked me into doing it and had a ball. But as soon as the season's over, they're all, there's 30 guys, 40 guys. There's like 150 in the league, but 30 or 40 guys that I'm playing with, they're like, where are we going? What are we doing? This weekend I got reservations, at the indoor, and it's just the chatter about it is crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to consume it. I know a fellow worker here brings his son every weekend. They're here playing golf. They play, 6-7 rounds of golf every weekend here, and they love it. They just, they go on golf trips together, but they come here every weekend, and it is, for golf, it is accelerated the interest in the game for sure.
Yep. It has. Yeah, it's a cool feature. Like your company has put 2 indoors there at where you work, and that's starting to happen in a lot more places right now. I've talked to a couple people that own businesses, and they're thinking about putting one in for their employees as well. So It's really cool. I want to get back to the features. What are some of the other features that you use that have helped your game? I mentioned Conquer It, which is a great game with the driver where, you know, folks, you hit a shot and it's a big fairway, and then the next shot, the fairway condenses.
Everything
And yeah. And I had, it was funny, Ralph, real quick. I had Russell Knox in here, and we were hitting shots, and I said, "Hey, play this game." And so he does, and then it got tighter, and then he was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And then he hits it, and they got tighter, and then and as this fairway was getting tighter, I could see him. Oh, okay, he's going through his routine,
changing. Yeah, he's getting serious about it, right?
very serious. Like the last two, because it gets tight. The last two, he was, I mean, like he was in full play mode, and so that was cool to see. Like we were simulating something that it didn't make him nervous, but it got his attention, and he was peak focus and trying to hit a shot, and he just loved it. That's one of my favorite games. What are some of your other features?
Whew, if my kids are here or a coworker will just like shoot darts, right? There's a dartboard behind us, one of those, stick dartboards. So we'll throw the dartboard on there, and you can set the distance, you can set the angles, and you can have fun, throwing darts. Somebody wants to play, I think in Illinois, they call it bags. In Ohio, where I'm from, they call it cornhole, but it's basically bags, right?
Yep.
You throw them. You can play those games. You can, like you said, shaping it. There's so many different games to play on the simulator, and what it's all about. Number one, fun first, right? I mean, you get people to have fun. It's a pleasure to play, right? You don't have to worry about score because you're just having fun. But you're also learning how to hit the ball. You're aiming at something. I was at Firestone Country Club as a little kid, and Hale Irwin was there during a practice round, and we said, "What are you aiming at?" And he was like, "Do you see that leaf?" It was like a second hole's a par five. He goes, "You see that leaf on the right side of the fairway, toward that lady in the red dress or something like that?" And we're like, "Okay, yeah, I think we see it." He's like, "That's what I'm aiming at." He goes, "I'm not aiming at the fairway. I'm aiming at that thing." So it reminds me of the movie The Patriot, right? Aim small, miss small, all those things. And it's absolutely true. And so on the simulator, aiming at things, those games, it's all about having fun and trying to get you aiming at something tighter and tighter and tighter in a fun way, but it's actually training you at the same time. So I love playing those games with people that they don't want to necessarily play, round of golf, or they just want to come and hit some balls because they're maybe intimidated the first time they do it. So, hey, let's play a game.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, you want to play putt putt? We play putt putt," whatever it is, because it's very accurate and it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
So yeah, I play a lot of different games, and I try to approach it like it means something, right? You're trying to drive up feelings in your body to give yourself a little bit of stress. That's why competing on the simulator is pretty awesome, because the first time you tee up on a Ryder Cup Sim Series competition and you got to play all these, all the 18 holes of all these Ryder Cup courses, there's no do-overs. You're hitting the ball and you're playing it from there on a simulator. I got nervous like I did in tournaments, right? The first tee shot. And it was like that every shot. And then you start to learn how to deal with the stress of it and get comfortable with it, because it's always going to be there, but you got to get comfortable with it. And that's what's helped me.
Yeah.
Is getting comfortable with the stress.
Right. It's not solving everything, right? Like that's not what anybody is saying. Like there's no grass in here and assessing a lie, right? Although like I've got a couple things that I use in here to try to simulate a bunker shot and things like that. So like there's things that you can't fully achieve indoors, but you can achieve a lot. And I think what's really fascinating about this discussion with you, Ralph, is that you're a very accomplished player. You love the game, but you have a lot of other things like all of us do. And for you to stay sharp and continue to move your game forward to be able to compete with the top U.S. senior AMs, you're primarily doing that and staying sharp indoors. I mean, that's the reality. Like you're primarily doing that with your time that you're putting indoors on the sim.
Definitely. Like you said, there's no substitute for real grass. against the grain,
Right.
with the grain, that kind of stuff. So I do. I go chip and putt, you know, as often as time allows me. I'll go do that. Maybe once or twice a week, I'll go
Mhm.
chip and putt on real grass, real turf, and whatnot.
Yep.
And hit balls, you know, like I said, once a week, you know. But other than that, you know, I've played maybe 13 rounds of golf this year, cumulatively, and probably played, I don't know, 20 times that on a simulator.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's amazing. It really is.
that's
I mean,
cool. I love it.
20 times the amount of time out, 20 times that indoors versus out.
Yeah.
And then you go out and you
I
compete.
would have never said that years ago, that I would play simulator golf. I just wasn't interested in it. I loved being outdoors. I loved enjoying the
Right.
outdoors. You could have never told me that I would love the simulator golf as much as I do. But this product, this
Yeah.
simulator in particular, has really just blown me away.
It's good stuff, Ralph.
Yeah.
We're pulling for you, man. Right? You know,
Hey, thanks.
everybody in the indoor golf world, of course, the About Golf family, and myself here in Florida. We wish you the best of luck this weekend. Bartiz
Thank you.
Camp Club U.S. Senior Amateur, 26 and 20, 156 players. So you got to get in the top 64, Ralph, to get into match play. Right?
That's goal one, right?
All right. Well, go get it, man. Just let it go. Nothing to lose. Best of luck.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
All right.